Agriculture. Agriculture is the purposeful tending of crops and livestock in order to produce food and fiber. Before the first agricultural revolution, all people were nomadic hunter-gatherers. During the first agricultural revolution, people developed tools such as clubs, spears, and axes, and learned how to control fire. With the domestication of animals and vegetative planting, permanent settlements came about. These settlements began to trade surpluses with each other and became complex societies. This new idea of agriculture contagiously diffused from the hearths that Carl Sauer described in Mesopotamia, Hittites, Egypt, Uruk, and Elam, all in the Fertile Crescent and the Nile River Valley. The first form of farming was subsistence farming, or providing food for only your family and having no surplus. A type of subsistence agriculture is shifting or swidden cultivation, or clearing an area, using up the soil, and then moving to a new area once the soil becomes infertile. Some groups of people do not settle and become nomadic pastoralists, moving with their animals in search of fodder. Started in the 17th century Europe, the Second Agricultural Revolution improved tools and techniques, used fertilizers, and intensified agriculture. During this time, the British government passed the Enclosure Act, which encouraged the merging of small fields into large, single-owned holdings. Subsistence farming intensified and yields started to increase with the introduction of crop rotation. This process preserved nutrients in the soil, making harvests more plentiful.
With more intensive farming came permanent year-round settlements. The settlements were linear, walled, nucleated, and dispersed. Linear followed transport routes. Walled were older villages protected by a wall. Nucleated were villages surrounded by a field. And dispersed were common in North America and were farmhouses that were spread out. During this time, a man named von Thunen came up with a model to summarize land use with maximum profit. In the middle was the central city. Outside of that was the intensive farming or dairy area. Then the forest or lumber area. Then extensive field crops such as such as grain and livestock. The third agricultural revolution dates back to the mid-late 20th century. During this time, agribusinesses began to prosper and pollution became a major controversy in agriculture. Biotechnology was first researched and developed in the 1930s before the start of the Green Revolution. This technology was used to create genetically modified organisms in order to produce higher crop yields and is the focal point of the Green Revolution. Many new technological advances in machinery allowed for mass production and high yields with less labor. Because of this, many areas went away from subsistence farming and smaller farms were destroyed and taken over by powerful agribusinesses. The Green Revolution has created the development of high yields through biotechnology and genetically modified organisms. However, it has led to great controversy because of pollution, as it is seen as harmful to the environment. The revolution has also led to greater separation between more developed countries and less developed countries in terms of wealth. And here's our bibliography.